When I think of this question, is there such a thing as being too ethical? I would say no, because being too ethical basically means that you're perfect, and that's pretty much impossible. Welcome to this episode of the Creators for Change podcast. This episode is going to be a little bit different, a little bit more fun. So Kayla and I got into discussion about what it means to be ethical online. And this all started when I saw a post that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so I talked about it with Kayla, and we started to ask ourselves, what does it really mean to be intentional and ethical online? So we're not saying that we have it all figured out, but we want to invite you into the messiness of this conversation. So the post that I saw that rubbed me the wrong way was I saw someone, and I won't say who it was someone on Instagram. They were posting about how they're on family vacation and there's nothing else that they want to do more than just keep working. And they said in the post that everyone preaches balance, but those people aren't creating legacies. And then she said, there is no balance, there's only relentless obsession and love for the game. When I saw that, I'm like, okay, I understand that you love the game. However, it's important to have rest, especially in certain niches that are more technical and more creative. And just the way she came off, it was almost like you're not creating a legacy if you don't work nonstop. Would you agree with that, Kayla?
Definitely, because there's no quality of life if you don't have balance. It's that phrase, everything in moderation. Because if you're not creating balance, you're gonna burn out. And what may work for you doesn't work for everyone. Like that person, maybe they have kids on the vacation with them, and imagine how they're feeling that their parent is constantly working and not spending quality time.
Exactly. And then on the next day, they made another post about how they're on vacation and they ran 4 miles in the morning. And then they said, if you want it bad enough, you find a way. You don't preach balance. And again, I'm like, I'm just like, I don't know about that one. Like, I get if you want to run, that's totally different. But burning yourself out, there's actually a book by Brene Brown called Dare to Lead. And in the book, she does a side-by-side right here of armored leadership. So this to me is armored leadership. This is when there's walls and there's barriers and it's not totally ethical and healthy. And then she compares it to daring leadership. So one example of armored leadership, which I think this post has, is rewarding exhaustion as a status symbol and attaching productivity to self-worth. Whereas on the contrast, daring leadership or ethical leadership is modeling and supporting rest, play, and recovery. So I think it's important, if you want to build a legacy, to do rest and recovery. When I do it personally, it's when my best ideas come. It's what energizes me to show up for all of you. So that to me is a good example of not the most ethical leadership in my opinion.
What that kind of makes me think of, like the armored leadership versus the daring leadership. Like the daring leadership to me seems like it's coming from a place of empathy and connection, whereas the armored leadership kind of seems like it would be coming from more of a place of insecurity and isolation,
No, definitely. It's almost like they have these walls up and they're trying to prove themselves, prove something. But like you said, it seems like it's just coming from a place of insecurity. So another example that I want to share, and this is more of a trend, which personally I don't think was good leadership at all. Many of you, a few weeks ago, saw that big trend of a CEO cheating on his wife at a Coldplay concert. Now, I'll be honest, when I first saw it too, I laughed. I thought it was entertaining, it was amusing, I thought it was wild. But then I started seeing ads on Facebook where people were making memes out of it, basically making fun of them. And then that's when I started thinking, okay, since when did it become okay to use someone's lowest moment to profit? Like, imagine your lowest moment, everyone. Like literally think about it. And there's cameras everywhere nowadays. Everyone has one in their pocket. Imagine if someone caught that on video, and not only does it go viral, but people are making money off of it. I don't know. To me, that's just not ethical. Like, you wouldn't want someone to do that to you, and you're not fully thinking through of how that affects that individual and their family. That sort of thing can actually push someone over the edge. Here at Creators for Change, our annual cause is actually mental health. And so this is an example of not using social media for good to harm someone's mental health and their families.
Yeah. It doesn't seem quite legal, does it, to like use something. Surely that CEO must have sued a bunch of
I
people
heard that,
about
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I heard that he was going to, but not to dive into that scenario. So, those are a couple examples of what we think is not the most ethical leadership. Tell us your thoughts down below about what you think of those two scenarios. But, Kayla, how about you share a couple examples that you've seen online where people are embodying good leadership and they're staying aligned with their values?
Yeah, I have a couple of examples that I just think that they do such a good job of staying authentic regardless of what the outcome of like what their follower counts are, like posting things that they know are going to be controversial, but they're true to themselves and they're spreading information that they believe needs to be spread that's making the internet a better place. The first example is an author, an activist named Tori Choi. She wrote a book called It's Not Just You, which is about eco-anxiety, climate anxiety, and she's done some amazing activism in her life. She like sailed across the Atlantic without any electricity as a climate activism act. But on her social media, she just posts whatever she thinks, and I agree with what she posts as well, but she posts regularly about the genocide in Gaza, which was obviously such a difficult topic to speak about. Like, so many people are so intimidated to talk about it because they don't know how to speak about it in a way that's like respectful, but she's got all of that figured out. She also posts a lot about climate, and like you can just tell that she just follows her gut, she follows her heart, and I think she's a trailblazer for ethical posting, ethical social media use. And my second example is Ree Lauren. She's also in the climate sphere. And she also posts about really, really important topics like the genocide in Gaza, climate, capitalism, all those things that are difficult to speak about. And instead of just presenting us with the problems, she also gives us a solution. So if she's posting about how microplastics are terrible, she'll give some examples of how to avoid single-use plastics, and she's also very science-based, which I think is amazing. But yeah, I just really love how these two creators stand true to their beliefs and don't care about people unfollowing them for posting things that are controversial.
Right, and I like that because, in my opinion, I think it's better to have the wrong people following you to unfollow you than to have more of the wrong people follow you because you don't stay aligned with your values. For example, if I would have reposted that CEO at the Coldplay concert, maybe I would have brought on a bunch of new followers, but I would rather make a post saying why I stand against that and lose some followers. Another thing I want to mention for those two examples is that in this book as well, Brene talks about perfectionism and how when we try to be perfect, it's actually an insecurity that we hold. We're holding ourselves to a super high standard that's actually impossible to achieve. And with these two creators that you mentioned, Kayla, it sounds like now they have a good grasp on how to talk about these topics, how to present solutions, but we want to tell all of you listening that takes practice. Sometimes it takes posting things and getting feedback. There are genuine people out there where if you post something, they will give a respectful piece of feedback to help you be better next time. Mm-hmm. So online, it's not all negative. Some people might be negative with you, but again, there's always a learning experience through that. So it always comes with practice, everyone. Being a good leader, communicating what you believe in, it takes practice. But we believe here at Creators for Change that's better to be imperfect than to not do it at all and to just learn from your mistakes. Awesome. So what we love to see at Creators for Change too is trends that go viral that actually help people with their mental health and their well-being. So Kayla, do you want to share an example of a trend that you saw that, brought positivity to people and actually made the world a bit of a better place?
Yeah, so a trend that like so many people do, I guess it probably doesn't even have a name, but a trend that really brightens the world is like just posting affirmations. Like I know there's so many different accounts that make art and then put an affirmation on top of it. And then here at Creators for Change, we've got our Happy Sticky Challenge where we post a sticky note with an affirmation or something that's making us feel good. And we post it and we tag it with hashtag Happy Sticky. And I don't know, that just like putting that positivity on the internet only has a positive effect on the internet. And then another trend that I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like tailored towards mental health, but it's more tailored towards posting authentically. Is that there's a lot of posts that I've been seeing that are like vibe checks, or like they're called like propaganda I'm not falling for, and they're just writing out all of their stances on hot topics and making it super clear for their audiences to kind of like weed out anybody who might be opposed to their beliefs. And I just think that's like a super awesome thing to do.
I really like that propaganda one too, because the other two are great, like the vibe check and affirmations and Happy Sticky. It's amazing to spread positivity because I don't think we realize how much that can just make a little subtle difference in someone's day. But I like the propaganda one because trends that open people's eyes, I think, are very powerful. I think social media should be used not just for positivity, but to open people's eyes, even if it gets them like a little bit like fed up. So for example, like if their eyes were opened to what's happening in Gaza more, then that could like activate them to actually want to do something about it or to not repeat the cycle. So there's actually one little trend I plan to experiment with here soon. In a couple weeks. This is like a little personal experiment. I'm going to Europe for 2.5 weeks. I'm going to go to 4 different countries, and I want to try this little segment where I ask people from different countries kind of like what they think of the U.S. What's their perspective?
Oh gosh.
I know. And I'm thinking if I should videotape that or like write it out. I don't know yet. I think video would be more powerful, but I just want to hear like what they have to say. And I'm not saying that they're right, but it could be very eye-opening. And who knows, maybe it'll start a trend. Maybe other people will start doing it too. I actually think I saw someone do it. Like they'll make a post on Instagram like, hey, those of you not from the US, leave a comment down below about what you think like of our government. And the comments are super like eye-opening.
Oh gosh, I think that'll be probably very. I hope you have thick skin.
It'll be fun. I'm gonna have fun with it.
No, that will be really fun, and I hope. Yeah, you better video it so I can watch it.
Yeah, everyone here can watch it. So let's transition into a bit of a debate because, Kayla and I were talking through these things. There's some things that we agree on, some things that we disagree on, and there's some stuff that maybe we agree on, but maybe everyone or those of you listening could disagree. So one thing we were asking ourselves is there such a thing as too ethical? What do you think, Kayla? Is there such a thing as being too ethical on social media?
I think like this is like kind of, it's hard to say yes or no because like that being ethical means different things for different people. Like some people may be able to do everything perfectly, like in terms of like environmentalism and sustainability. Like there's always been like the trend of like zero waste, where you have like literally no plastic waste. Like basically just like the only waste you produce is like food waste that you can compost, and like you can fit any other waste like in a little mason jar. And like some people will think that that's the only way to be ethical, and same with like veganism. Like eating no animal products whatsoever. But while some people can do that, like that's just not possible for everybody, and to expect that from everyone is just, I think it's kind of unfair. So I guess if you're in that place and you're putting, if you're kind of like shaming, if you're in the place of I do everything perfectly and then you're expecting everybody else to do everything perfectly, like that's being too ethical. But I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, it's like putting that pressure onto people that they should be a certain way. And it might have good intentions, like, oh, yeah, we want to, protect the environment, so everyone should do zero waste. But it's not totally ethical to expect that from everyone, especially people who have so many commitments. Maybe they rely on food stamps or they have to work a job like 12 hours a day. That's not their top of their mind, is zero waste. When I think of this question, is there such a thing as being too ethical? I would say no, because too ethical basically means that you're perfect, and that's pretty much impossible. And like you said, everyone has different ideas of what that means. Some people think it's not ethical to swear online, whereas other people think it's okay. And so someone who holds back swearing because they believe, oh, if I swear, I'm not being ethical. Well, in a sense, that's not totally ethical because they're holding back, like, their truest thoughts, how they truly want to express themselves. Another thing, too, is like, I noticed this during the pandemic, that there were people online who were saying that, oh, yeah, you should be aware of what's going on. And same thing with this whole Gaza situation. There's people like, you should know exactly, like, not exactly what's happening, but you should keep up with what's happening. That's the ethical thing to do. However, there are certain people who are more sensitive mental health wise to some of the realities that are going on. And that can cause overwhelm, burnout, and their mental health to decline. So again, like, it's a bit of a gray area. I don't think that it's possible to be perfect. I think we should just do the best that we can and just learn as we go, and don't put that pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And like there's not such a thing as being too ethical when the focus is on yourself. But like if you're trying to push your way of living on other people, like that can be too much.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Another question. So is cancel culture too black and white? I don't think it's too black and white. So, cancel culture is basically when a person or a brand like gets backlash, they get canceled. And I don't think it's super black and white. I think that, again, it's a gray area. It's not like, oh, this person's now canceled, they're done. So let's use an example of Logan Paul. So those of you who don't know, Logan Paul, big YouTuber, mainly focused on entertainment. A few years back, he posted a video of him and his buddies going into a suicide forest in Japan. And they came across a body hanging. And so they filmed it. They were kind of, like making comments, and they posted the video. Now, Logan got huge backlash. And he posted a video saying how sorry he was. And I'll be honest, like, I watched the video, he sincerely seemed like sorry, like he knew he made a mistake. Now, he probably, like, some people probably unfollowed him forever after that, especially those who maybe experienced a family member or a friend who went through suicide. They probably, like, stopped. However, like, not everyone did. Not even everyone, like, knew about that. And so the way I see it, and some people are going to disagree with me here, I think if someone makes a mistake online and they're genuinely sorry, instead of like canceling them out forever, I think we should learn to have forgiveness if they're genuinely sorry. Me, for example, I used to do horrible things. I don't know why, but when I was like younger, like third grade, I was like, people said I had loose screws. I would cheat, lie, and steal, literally. And if someone hung that over my head today, I would be like, you're being totally unfair. I've grown, I've done work, I've learned from my mistakes. Like, why are you just like canceling me out? I think that applies to this. So I think for some people, they'll cancel someone out, but like Logan like now does like professional fighting. So now people are cheering him on. So like, that's the way I see it. Like, I don't think it's black and white at all.
Definitely. And there's just such a spectrum, like everything else, like cancel culture is a spectrum. Like there are obviously people who have done awful things, and we should not give them the time of day in our social media presence and all of that. And there are people who are amazing, and we should celebrate that. But yeah, this middle area where somebody does something that they didn't fully think through, and they apologize for it, like, yeah, we've gotta be able to let people learn from their mistakes. Like, I guess it's a matter of if you believe in second chances. But somebody that like has been canceled for good reason, I think, is like Kanye West. Like he actually has screws loose, and he's I don't even know what to say about him because he's just gone totally off the rocker. But this is kind of leading us into our next question, because there's I've been seeing this trending audio from one of his old songs, and every time I see it, I'm like, why are people using a Kanye audio? Like, he's a bad person. Like, he's really spreading hate in the world. Like, is it okay to use this audio? So it's kind of a question of, should we separate art from the artist at this point? What do you think about that?
I think we actually might disagree here on this, and I think that's okay. So I think it's okay to separate art from artist. I think if a song is like really catchy and it's good and it's not communicating anything directly harmful, I think it's okay to use it. I actually really love one of Kanye's songs, that Good Morning song. I listen to that in the morning and it puts me in the mood. Yes.
Every day?
Not every day, but like I do manifesting in the morning. Like, little side note, I do manifesting. And I have a goal of like writing a book for Creators for Change and like bringing it on Good Morning America. So Good Morning America, good morning. It's just like, gets me in the zone. That's how I manifest. So to me, like, that song puts me in a good mood. It helps me to visualize. I think that in that, like, I don't think about Kanye and like, I don't think about him. I think about the song. So, but I get what you're saying. Like, someone like Kanye, if he's not like directly sorry for like, or, you know, if he doesn't have any remorse, I think like as a person, it's okay to cancel him out, but maybe not the music. This is just my opinion. You're free to disagree.
Yeah. Personally, like I wouldn't use his audios no matter how catchy the song. Maybe I'll listen to a song or two like in my personal time. But I don't know. It's just not something that, because like if I feel that way, if I have this like thought in the back of my head that's like, oh, negativity because of this person, like I don't want to put it back on the internet and then somebody else sees it and they like think about all this hate that he's representative of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. So, you know, it's okay that we disagree here.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So the next question is silence safer or is it more harmful?
Okay, so I think this question here gives us a good opportunity to talk a little bit more about Gaza, because right now there's a lot of people who are staying silent. They're not educating themselves, and like, I'll be honest with all of you, that was me for a very long time. Why? Because it was overwhelming. I didn't feel like there's anything I could do, and there was a lot of propaganda. But over time, I recently learned that silence can actually be more harmful. So that's my stance on this. And the example I'll give is, like, let's be real. If you don't know what's happening in Gaza, I would encourage you to educate yourself. But what seems to be happening is that there's a repeat in history. Not to go too much more into detail, but the genocide, the silence, propaganda, and dehumanization, a lot of that is a direct repeat from World War II. And so, again, as a generation, we might think, well, what can we do about it? Especially like Gen Z. We're not old enough to even be in office. I think you have to be 35 years old to be a president. And so we think, what can we do? And even everyday people, like, what can we really do? And so I think, though, being silent is more harmful because our votes matter. The next people who we elect as leaders matter. And so if we study it, if we stay awake, if we have the conversations, then we can choose differently. We can be different as a collective generation, and we can create a better future. And I don't care who you are, you can help history not repeat itself with your future votes, the way you raise your children, if you're a teacher, the way you teach your students. Because if we work for those companies, then they stay in business, but if we don't, they go out of business. So some of us will rise as leaders, others will be the ones who vote. So I think that silence is more harmful.
I agree, because if we have a voice, we should use it, because not everybody can. So that's just like, that's like a privilege that we have that we should take advantage of. Sorry, it's a cattail in my face. That's a privilege that we have that we should be using. But I think there is also like a little bit of nuance there, because it could be harmful for some people, you know? Some people come from families that won't accept them if they believe a certain thing. So they do have to, like, in order to maintain familial relationships, they may have to censor what they're putting out into the world, which is not something like that most people in our society have to deal with, but like in countries where like women don't have rights and like gay marriage is illegal, like people can't even express like if they're gay, or some women like can't even get an education, you know? So I don't know. I just think that there's like a little bit of nuance there, because not everybody has the freedom to do what we do, you know?
Right. When it comes to social media, definitely, like, if someone speaks out about certain things and their family sees it, or a potential boss sees it, they might not hire them, or they might not get certain opportunities. And then, yeah, especially if you're a woman in a certain country, then you can lose a lot of your rights, and there's certain consequences to be aware of. So again, it all depends. It all depends. So whatever your situation is, it's good to answer that for yourself. I want to transition, because you mentioned, Kayla, that we have certain privileges, especially like you and I, we have certain privileges, and you know, we do our best to be aware and to put out good content to help everyone rise. So with that being said, we have different tools that you and I both use to stay grounded and to stay aware. So here at Creators for Change, we're actually starting a new segment called What's in Your Backpack? And so this is just where we share different tools that help us stay grounded online and that help us just to be more mindful overall. So Kayla, do you want to start with your things that are in your backpack that help you?
Yeah. So the first thing that I always have on me that just always gets me in the right state of mind is my emotional support water bottle. I've had this for like 3 years, and I don't know, just having it allows me to focus better and allows me to keep myself hydrated. And it's like such a simple thing, but it really helps me to keep myself together.
What about it? Is it the way it looks or the color?
I think that like something about it too that makes me so attached to it is that it's been like all over the world with me. Like I've taken it to England, I've taken it to Egypt, taken it to Costa Rica.
Awesome.
The second thing that I keep with me that it's really helped me. I just started doing it recently, but it's this morning pages journal. So each morning I sit down and I write 3 pages of just whatever I'm thinking, like stream of consciousness type writing. You just have to get to the 3 pages mark. And what that does for your brain is it like allows you to dump anything on the pages that's like holding you back or just like weighing you down. And that getting that out on the pages, just out of your brain, like really lifts like the mental load that you're carrying, because you're putting these feelings into words and you're analyzing these situations that you've been through, and it leaves like so much room for creativity. So like this practice is like all about boosting your creativity. And I've noticed like a really big difference in how creative I've been and how also I've been way better at focusing. Like I have ADHD, and just being able to like write in the morning and get all of these thoughts out, I guess clear some space for focus. I don't know.
I love it. I love it. What else you got in there?
So a mental tool of mine is that I don't have social media on my phone, but I keep it on like I only get on it on like my computer or my iPad, because when it's on my phone, I get so addicted. Like I just like start forming this muscle memory where I'll just always go to Instagram and I'll just start scrolling, and then I'm like, what am I doing? Like anytime I get on my phone, even if it's like to pull up a place on a map, I like will start going to Instagram, and then it's just like I get so overwhelmed. Like, what was I doing? It's just kind of like when you walk into a room, like there's like this phenomenon where if you walk through a doorway, your mind kind of clears and then you forget what you're doing. Like just think about any time you've like had to go back to your room to get your keys or something, and you get to your room and you're like, what was I doing? It's kind of the same for me, but like on my phone, like anytime I open it. But yeah, that's really helpful for me. And then just like a fun, what's in my backpack is I've got lots of colorful pens, and it helps me stay organized and makes me smile. So
I love it. I love the colors, and those can help with your journaling. It's amazing. So now I'll go for what's in my backpack that helps me stay grounded and mentally clear. So one of them is my Aura Ring. So those of you who don't know, this is a Aura Ring. It tracks 20 different biometrics for your health. And I love it because I feel in control of my health, because like your health is kind of like your reality. You know, if you stay healthy, you're mentally clear, you could do more. Whereas if you're not mentally clear and you can't do as much, like it's not as much fun. So I just feel in control with this. It comes with an awesome app. You could track your sleep, and if you're a lady, you could track your cycle. What else? Your cardiovascular health. So this to me, like, I feel amazing. And at the end of the day, with all the stuff happening online and in social media, I feel like if you have control over your health, like you're doing pretty well. Because a lot of people don't do that. But at the end of the day, what you really have at the end of the day is your health. You know, like there's people who would trade millions of dollars just to be young and healthy again. So that's just saying how valuable.
no, like I feel that on like a personal level, because I used to wear a Fitbit all the time, and I would make sure I got my step count in, and I would make sure my sleep score was good, and I would track how much water I was drinking. And then my Fitbit got too old and I stopped using it. And since then I get like 2,000 steps a day on a good day. And it's like when you have that physical reminder to take care of yourself and you get to like see it with your own eyes, like it's just more inspiring to pay attention to it too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And how can you be a creator for change if, you know, like you don't keep your health in check long term? Another tool of mine is just a very simple journal. I like this brand just because it comes with like a nice little thing, and it comes with like a pen of the same color. But let me get the brand for all of you. It's called Fila. For those of you who maybe want to check it out, Fila. I don't know, they're just really easy to carry around. And I don't know about all of you, but like when I go for a walk or to the beach, like I get these downloads. Like these ideas will come. Like literally I was at the beach yesterday and I thought of a YouTube video idea and I scripted it all out. And I was like, wow, if I like sat at a desk and tried to like force this script out, it would have like not come out as smoothly. So I love to just carry a journal around with me. I never forget it, and I just get in the zone, and things come. It's like ideas come to me and I just write them down and I act on them. I feel like sometimes my ideas aren't even mine. I feel like they were just given to me by like something else. So there's that. And then another mental one is there's a Joe Dispenza meditation. If you go to YouTube, just type in Joe Dispenza meditation. The thumbnail says quantum meditation, and the title is Joe Dispenza's new 2025 quantum field meditation to create the life you want. There's something about that meditation that makes me feel like very powerful and like I could really manifest anything that I want. So I try to do that as much as I can. And then last one, this is a fun one. Got my necklace here. I don't know what it is about it. When I wear this necklace, I feel creative, I feel grounded, I feel connected to my spirituality. I don't know. I like the colors. There's something about the
So
colors
cute.
that I like.
It's like also it's like part of your brand because you've had it for like I feel like you've had it for so long.
I don't know. I just feel like creative with it. So
I want one, but I don't want to copy you. But every time I go into a store and I see one like it, I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
let us know down below what's in your backpack. Maybe some of the things that Kayla and I shared you'll check out for yourself. Everyone's a little bit different, so maybe for Kayla, her support water bottle gets her through the day. For me, it's the necklace. For you, it could be something totally different. So we'd love to hear it. And we thank you for watching this episode, and we are excited to see you for the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, check out our website, and subscribe to our newsletter so that you get notified when we release new episodes.
Just one thing, a question that we'd like to leave with you to reflect on is what does responsibility look like for you right now with your platform, your people, and your voice?
I love it. I love it. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you for the next one.